Hello and welcome back to this video series on the results of the 2023 Student Health Survey of students in Franklin County in the North Quabbin region. This section I'll be diving into substance use, and the general trend that we're seeing is that usage is declining, as we've been seeing for the last couple of decades at least. This graph shows decreases in the percentage of students that are reporting recent use of each substance or use in the last 30 days. In 2021, we saw historic lows for recent use across the board and all the substances that we track. And this makes sense because everybody was stuck at home and the height of pandemic restrictions. And usage seemed to increase slightly from there, but is still sitting at least below where it was at before the pandemic. And vaping really had a large spike in 2019. This is probably because of how it was being marketed at the time and novelty around it, but has since relaxed. Another thing I want to point out is that while the use of cannabis has declined overall, its decline has been a lot more slow and gentle than for example, the decrease in use of alcohol for youth. This graph shows disparities between different demographic groups and who's using substances. So each gray bar shows the percentage of that demographic group that reports use of any substance that we ask about on a survey throughout their lifetime. And the dashed line going across shows the average for all students combined. So we can see which demographic groups tend to report use of substances a little bit more or less than average. And I should note that this is a very broad generalization of substance use. If we look at any substance use on its own, we will certainly see differences and nuances, but these are the themes that tend to stand out between different demographics, where we see that cis girls and women, LGBTQ plus youth, and lower socioeconomic status students reporting substance use a little bit more than average. However, we do have evidence that some of those disparities have been collapsing over time. For example, with recent cigarette smoking, we saw big gaps in which students were reporting smoking back in 2007 and 2011. And now in 2023, those disparities have collapsed to a near negligible point on top of cigarette smoking altogether for all students on the decline as well. Along the lines of declining substance use overall, we are seeing declines in the percent of students that are reporting impaired driving. And similar to the rates of cannabis declining much more slowly than the rates of alcohol use, we are seeing evidence of slower declines in high driving compared to drunk driving. Tangentially, we're also seeing a considerable increase in the percentage of students that are reporting texting or emailing while driving. So to summarize what we're seeing in the data in 2023 and in previous years, substance use and impaired driving seem to be trending downward. And it tends to be cis girls and women and LGBTQ plus youth and lower socioeconomic status youth that are more likely to use substances. And finally, that some of the greatest disparities, such as cigarette smoking, have decreased. So that concludes our section on substance use, and the next video will cover sexual and relationship health.